Former Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour is with us now. He's also a former chairman of the Republican National Committee. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Charlie. Morning.
With the Speaker abandoning the process now, does that mean we're going over the fiscal cliff?
Well, don't have to, because the House has previously passed legislation to continue the tax cuts. The House yesterday passed legislation to avert the sequestration. Now the question is, will the Democrats in the Senate or the President accept that or come back with some other offer? But the House has already done the two things necessary to avert the fiscal cliff and the sequestration. Now, I wish they had passed what they did
So
last
when the Republicans voted against the Speaker, you were saying to those Republicans, I would have voted with him.
I would have voted with him, and I'll tell you why. What they voted on yesterday, or what they considered yesterday, would have never become law. But it would have put the ball to the other end of the court, and it would have shown the American people, look, the Republicans have bent over backwards. They think raising taxes is terrible, that it's going to hurt the economy, it's going to cost jobs. But they held their nose and compromised. There's been no compromise on the other side. None, zero, zip.
Oh, that's not quite true, is it?
Well, it is quite true.
Let's hold on here. We had last night the Republican conference turn their back on their speaker, and he got up and gave the serenity prayer. He almost cried in front of his conference, and now everybody's going home for Christmas without getting their job done. What's happened? Why has the Republican Party turned their back on Speaker Boehner?
Well, look, they may have been 5 votes short out of 233. Okay, so let's don't say that all the conference turned it back. He might have had 200 votes. It takes 218. Yeah. So let's first of all, if you know something I don't know, say it. But I don't think they were very short, very far short. But again, remember, the House has already passed legislation to avert the fiscal cliff, and the Senate has refused to take it up.
But you essentially had the Speaker do this Plan B, which didn't have any spending cuts in it. It was a plan that would essentially only raise taxes on millionaires. And he couldn't get his own party to agree with that. So essentially it looks like the Republican Party is on record of protecting millionaires from tax cuts. Politically, was it a huge blunder?
For the Republicans, what we need to get the focus on is spending. And several of these Republicans said, look, this does nothing about spending. Spending's a problem. Let me just give you an example. CBO last week put out these numbers, Charlie. I think it's important for your viewers to know this. In October, November, the first 2 months of the fiscal year, taxes went up $30 billion. That is a 10% increase over taxes in the previous October, November. But the deficit increased $57 billion because spending went up $87 billion. Taxes up 30, spending up 87. Spending is the problem here. And there's nothing that these Republicans, I don't agree with them, but I can imagine them saying, but there's nothing in here about the real problem.
2 points. This is not just the Speaker, it's also Eric Cantor. He was in favor of this as well and was supporting it enthusiastically. The other point is the Democrats say we put spending cuts on the table, number one. And number two, the question is, what else could the President have done to give John Boehner the ability to convince his own party?
Well, the President could have, in the negotiations, been serious about spending. At one point in the negotiations...
serious about spending.
Charlie, at one point in the negotiations, the vehicle that the Democrats, the White House sent to the House, was his budget from this year. Not one Democrat in Congress voted for that budget. It got 0 votes in the House or Senate, and they thought that should be some of what they should have started with. Come on now. The Senate hadn't passed a budget in 3 years. The House Republicans have passed a budget the last 2 years that they've controlled Congress. We need to get serious about spending because spending is the problem.
Well, it seems to me we need to trust each other. And there's a level nobody's trusting the other to come forward to do what they say they might do.
I noticed a quote in one of the papers that some businessman said it looks like everybody's posturing. Yeah. And that's a legitimate complaint.
Posturing and not trusting.
That is a legitimate complaint.
Governor, thank you.
Governor Barbour, thank you.